We will wait just a couple of minutes to allow some folks to get in. We know some folks might be running late, so we'll give you a couple of minutes here. All right, everyone, my name is Kristen Dickerson. I'm a past president of OACAC, and I am your co-host today. We do ask that if you have a question to ask, that you use the Q&A button. We do want you to know that your camera and microphone are off. This is a webinar format, so you aren't able to see the presenter or communicate with the other people in the session. We do encourage you to sign up for more sessions, and please know that a recording of this will be available within a week. And from there, Mike, I will hand it over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Technically, it's still morning for me, but good afternoon to you all. I'm excited to present to you about the University of Oregon today. So I'm going to start sharing my screen because I do have a little presentation prepared. So let me get that pulled up, and hopefully you can see it now. And we'll jump into presentation mode. But again, my name is Mike. I'm with the University of Oregon. I've been fortunate enough to be with the University of Oregon for, gosh, 7, 8 years now. A majority of that time has been as a student, though. We're actually kind of getting half and half now. Half the time has been as a student, and then now half the time as an admissions counselor. We're getting pretty close to that. But I did get to spend 4 years of my college experience at the University of Oregon, and now I represent the University of Oregon as an admissions counselor, as a professional. I'm based in Portland, but the University of Oregon is based in Eugene, which is about 2 hours south, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I am the admissions counselor for all Ohio students, so any questions you have, please feel free to message me via email, via text message, via phone call. Whatever is most convenient to you, will work with me. I'll do my best to get back to you as quickly as I can. But again, I'm your representative. Feel free to send me a message. Normally, in a normal year, in any sense, I'd be able to visit Ohio and travel to places like Columbus and Cincinnati and all the suburbs of those areas, Cleveland. Sometimes I make it out to Dayton, not very often, though it can get a little tricky with the schedule, but I just love traveling to Ohio, and I'm bummed that I don't get to do that this year. But in any sense, let's jump into the presentation. And before we get started with anything, we do want to spend a couple seconds just to honor the native land that the University of Oregon stands on. So the University of Oregon is located on Kalapuya Iliki, the traditional homeland of the Kalapuya people. Following treaties between 1851 and 1855, Kalapuya people were dispossessed of their indigenous homeland by the US government and forcibly removed to the coast reservation in Western Oregon. Today, their descendants are citizens of the Confederate Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederate Tribes of the Siletz Indians of Oregon. They continue to make important contributions to the communities and the U of O and across the land that is referred to as now Oregon. So we definitely want to honor the Kalapuya people and all the indigenous peoples of Oregon. They've made incredible commitments to the U of O community and to the entire state. So we want to honor them, absolutely. I do want to direct you to our little, so you know how you have these little info cards that you sign up and you put down your name, your email, your phone number, and that's how we get our communication to you. Again, we're on a virtual platform, so I can't hand you these little sign-up sheets in person or even have you fill them out by hand. It's all online now. So you have to visit this website, admissions.uoregon.edu/request. And on there is basically that same method of getting your information in order to communicate with you important dates. Normally, we would have open house events in the fall, more events like that in the spring for you to have an opportunity to visit campus, learn more about our programs, experience firsthand what the U of O energy is like, but unfortunately we can't do that. And so we will be hosting loads of virtual events beginning in a few weeks. And so to get notified about those, make sure to sign up for our email information and text information and phone calls or whichever ones you prefer to, again, receive that communication. So again, University of Oregon is based in Eugene, about 2 hours south of Portland, an hour away from the coast, an hour away from the mountains. So it's really centrally located, a really nice area for you to go out and get an experience of kind of just everything. With the 2 hour drive to Portland, and I guarantee you'll meet someone from the Portland area as soon as you come out to campus. You can always plan a weekend trip, a day trip up to Portland, experience why they say keep Portland weird. For those of you that are sports fans, love basketball, the Portland Trailblazers will have their games hopefully in person someday when we get to that point. But visit the Moda Center to watch the Trailblazers play. Maybe the Cleveland Cavaliers are in town. You're a big fan, want to check them out in Portland. Just all types of things to do. Get some really great food in Portland, or visit out and see the scenic Oregon coast. It's absolutely beautiful. If you're really curious, feel free to message me and I'll give you some spots. They are absolutely amazing. I just get blown away by the coast every single time I go out there. Even if I've gone to a particular place more than once, I still just in awe of the beauty that the Oregon coast holds. And then an hour drive east of campus, you are by the Cascade Mountains. So if you ski, snowboard, anything like that, any winter sports, that place is a really great opportunity to go out. We have an outdoor club that hosts loads of events, both at the coast and at the mountain range for you to participate in, whether you're going out and snowboarding for the day or going out and kind of rock climbing out by the coast. The outdoor program will host lots of events where they transport you. And so if you don't come with your car or you don't know a person with a car, you have that the transportation provided by the U of O outdoor program. And we're also pretty close to the Oregon-California state line. So if you want to take a road trip down to California, the closest kind of attraction in California would be the Redwood National Park. So that's about a 5 hour drive. That'd be a nice little kind of 3-day weekend trip to go out and just experience, Southern Oregon, the Redwood National Park, just lots of opportunities for you to go around campus. But there's just so much more going on in campus that you'll have a balance of things going on around campus for you to participate in, or going off into places like the coast, Portland, etc. Campus is fairly large. It's not too big, it's not too small. I like to call it a big small school because it's a little bit bigger than the mid-sized campus in terms of population, and in terms of size too, 295 acres. What's really nice is that a lot of your courses, a lot of your classes will be in buildings that run along one central street called 13th Avenue. And it's really easy to get from point A to point B. You just go up one single road to get to a majority of your courses. There are going to be some that are on the back end of campus, and that might take some extra minutes for you to walk to, but in the most part, you'll have 13th Avenue to rely on. And a lot of the different events will be held on 13th Avenue too, like our street fair. So that's just when local vendors will come out and set up their food trucks, their food carts, set up shop for some of their local businesses, and always want to support them. And so, yeah, it's just a really fun opportunity to experience 13th Avenue. And again, back to the big small comment that I made. Again, 23,000 students is a big campus, but it's on the smaller end of a big campus that, again, I like to call it a big small school because you still get that 16:1 ratio. And with 240 programs, there's going to be lots of opportunities for students to kind of mix and spread out amongst those programs. There are going to be some more popular ones than others, and those might be a little bit more populated in terms of student population. But for the most part, programs are evenly spread out in terms of student population, so you're not overwhelmed by one program in how many students are registering for courses in that program. And again, a 16:1 ratio still allows for you to have really great one-on-one interactions with your professor, with any graduate student assistants that might be assisting in the teaching, and even your peers. Having a small classroom will have opportunities for you to interact with your peers, have really engaging discussions about topics you're going over, all that fun stuff. And the University of Oregon is a Tier 1 research institution. We are actually recognized by the AAU, the AAU the Association of American Universities. They recognize schools across North America that are dedicated to research. We're the only ones recognized by them in the state of Oregon and only one of two in the Pacific Northwest. That gives us a lot of pride and a lot of sense of accomplishment because we do offer quite a bit of research and we're proud to offer it to our undergraduate students really as early on as your freshman year. If that's something that you're actively pursuing and actively want to be engaged with and want to have on your application or your resume once you leave the U of O, that's a really good opportunity to take advantage on our campus. And we offer research for all of our academic programs, not just the sciences. A lot of students typically jump to the sciences when they hear research, but that's not the case at the U of O. There's certainly going to be loads and loads of opportunities for science research on our campus, and there's actually kind of a bit of a renaissance on our campus for science research. We've recently gotten some big funding from private donors and from the state to advance our science research. But again, all of our academic programs will offer research. So whether you're majoring in dance, in music, in journalism, architecture, business, anthropology, all of those will have opportunities for research, not just the sciences. So you can definitely count on that. We have a total of 9 schools and colleges on our campus. Each one is home to different programs, and so they set up their curriculum differently for those programs. But this gives us a general sense of kind of where your major might be. If you're coming in undecided, you're not attached to any one of these. And even if you come in with a major, you're not attached to one of these colleges. You can always double major in a minor. That's always a really popular decision on our campus to pick up a second major, pick up a minor. We even have some students that triple major. That's not something I'm telling you have to do, but that is something that some of our students have picked up and have done well, have graduated in 4 years, and I'm sure they have a really loaded plate of work that they have to do, but they've gone out and succeeded at U of O. So again, not committed to one specific school or college. You can kind of dip your toe into a couple of different schools and colleges at the U of O campus. One of those colleges is the Clark Honors College. It's the oldest honors college west of the Mississippi. Really fantastic program. It gives you that small liberal arts experience within the larger public university setting, and also large research university setting. So it gives all the advantages of those two components while still having the small liberal arts experience, having those small classrooms, having really advanced professors who have worked in their field, done research in the field, have had their research papers published in academic journals. Just really excellent faculty for you to be participating in. A lot of them will help lead a lot of class-based research programs. So some really fantastic opportunities. One of the components of the Honors College is to develop a graduate level thesis. You actually defend that your senior year, right before you graduate. You defend your thesis in front of Clark Honors College faculty. And if you pass, you have the opportunity to have it published in an academic journal. So even while you're still an undergrad, you can work on a graduate level thesis that will maybe go on and get published in an academic journal. Just again, overall, really excellent program with excellent faculty, excellent research opportunities, just overall top tier program. Another really popular program on our campus is study abroad. A quarter of our undergraduates, by the time they graduate, will have studied abroad. So that's a fair size of our student population. We have over 300 programs in 80 countries. Global Education Oregon is the department that oversees our study abroad programs. And they have advisors that you can work with to best choose a program for you. So they'll work with you to make sure that any wants of yours are met while also checking off all the needs that you have. So for example, if you wanted to study in Asia, they'll pull out all the study abroad programs that they have in Asia in regards to your major, to your general education requirements, just overall making sure that the courses that you take abroad will meet the requirements that you have at the U of O in order to stay on track and not fall behind. Because that is an unfortunate reality for some students, they'll go off and study abroad into a program that they really found interesting, love their time, and love the country that they were in, but the program that they selected didn't transfer their credits back to the U of O. And so as a result, they're a little bit behind and might have to do extra schooling beyond their 4 years. The geo advisors make sure that doesn't happen, so that you are going off into Asia. You listed China, Japan, and South Korea as wanted countries that you wanted to study in. And they'll make sure, the geo advisor will make sure that the program that they recommend, because they're not going to choose a program for you. That's another thing. They're not going to choose a program for you, but they'll recommend a few programs that will, again, meet those wants of yours, but also meeting those needs that you have. But again, something that we really encourage on our campus, and a lot of students take up that opportunity with a quarter of our graduating undergraduates studying abroad. The University of Oregon is a very lively campus, very energetic, very school spirited, but it's also very welcoming and very supportive of our student population. So it's a top 20 public university for graduating underrepresented students, and then also in the top 25 for LGBTQ friendly colleges and universities. Again, very school spirited, very energetic, but also very welcoming, very supportive of our student population. We have each other's backs. Again, being a former student, I can speak to that. By experience, I loved my students, the students that I work with, the experience that I had with my peers. I really did feel supported in every decision that I made at the U of O. It was really a supportive family that we have on campus. And again, school spirited, very energetic, lots going on, 300 clubs and organizations for you to choose from. Everything from your typical clubs that you see on every college campus, student government, a dance club or something like that. But then also some really kind of funny and quirky ones, because we're definitely in Oregon. We keep things weird here. So things like a Super Smash Brothers Club. If you play Super Mario Smash Brothers Club, Mario Kart, they have tournaments that they'll host on campus. You can sign up. If you're really good, you can kind of show off, you can flex your muscles and show off your skills on those two video games. We have things like a Rubik's Cube Club. That's one that I participated in. So if you're curious, I am able to solve a Rubik's Cube in about 48 seconds. The world record though was like 6 seconds. So I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of practice to do. And even if you've never done a Rubik's Cube, they'll take you in, kind of show you the ropes of how to solve one, and get you to that point where you can solve one in less than a minute. So some really kind of fun, quirky ones. If you have an interest, if you have a passion, you'll find something for you with one of our clubs and organizations. A lot of students know University of Oregon. They hear that school name and they're associated with sports. We do have the 20 Division I sports that happen year round. Our biggest and kind of most well-known is our football club. This year, it had no Big Ten and Pac-12 games been postponed or canceled. Ohio State would have played the University of Oregon in Eugene in Autzen Stadium. Being again the Ohio representative for Ohio students, I was really excited to go see that game in person. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case this year. Hopefully next year, and maybe even they have a makeup game at some point the year after that. But again, football is one of our most well-known Division I sports. Basketball is up there, women's basketball is up there, women's volleyball, softball. There's just a ton for you to go check out. If you love sports, there's definitely going to be opportunity. Going to these events is free, just with your student ID. Your student ID is your ticket to all Oregon athletic events. Just show up to the venue with your ID. And you're good to go. With the football games, you do have to request your tickets in advance, but they're again still free. 42 club sports. If you play sports and you want to continue doing that, you can play club sports. Maybe you play Division I sports. Not everyone is Division I level though. And so if you want to continue playing sports competitively, club sports is a really great opportunity to do that. You still travel, you still compete. There's national tournaments, regional tournaments that you participate in. And then there's also intramural sports. And so that's just more for fun. If you want to grab a group of friends, create a team, You can participate in some of our intramural teams, and even within our intramural program, there are levels of competitiveness. So it could be super casual, super just recreational, and you have fun, you try your best, and that's all that matters. But you can also go in, be super competitive with lots of other super competitive teams. It's cutthroat to get to the championship game. And if you win the championship game, you get a coveted Oregon Intramural Championship t-shirt. It's a Nike, it's obviously Nike. We're all about Nike at Oregon. So it's a Nike Oregon Intramural Championship t-shirt that that is given out every year for winners. And it's just a really coveted shirt. If you have one, you're like a star on campus. But yeah, lots of opportunities if you like sports. And even beyond that, you don't have to participate in some of our sports if that's just isn't your scene, if that's just not what you're interested in. You don't have to be involved with that. Even school spirit, again, I keep saying that U of O is very school spirited, and that really is the case. You don't have to follow sports to be school spirited. I definitely know some people that didn't care for sports at all, but still had a lot of pride in U of O and still had a lot of school spirit walking up and down 13th Avenue on campus. For housing, we do have first-year students live on campus their first year. We have 15 academic residential communities, ARCs for short. And so ARCs are basically communities within our residence halls that are preset, and you can join one of these communities or at least apply to be in one of these communities. Some examples are like our music hall, our wellness hall, our social justice hall, and there's a lot more that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But basically, you jump into these communities. They have certain events that you'll participate in that all relate along those same themes. So if it's the music hall, you might do a concert, whether it's like the Eugene Symphony, or if a big artist is in town, like let's say Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars was on our campus. Maybe Bruno Mars is on campus, and being a part of the music hall guarantees you a ticket to see Bruno Mars or whoever's presenting in Matthew Knight Arena, or a big kind of arena venue in Eugene. And so, yeah, so academic residential communities are really great opportunity. So again, just jump into those communities outright at the U of O, kind of have that community right from the get-go. When you first move into campus, everyone in your hall is a part of that community. You have that community right off the bat. So again, just really great opportunity to jump into that. And then overall 9 dining venues with locally sourced food. Again, being a student firsthand, I can tell you that the food is really, really good. Again, I'm based in Portland, so I'm not on campus every single day, but when I am on campus, whenever I make the drive down and I'm on campus for the day or 2, or maybe even a full week sometimes, I definitely make a note to visit our dining halls. I definitely have some favorites, but I definitely make a note to visit our dining halls and get certain foods that just remind me of my freshman year or just my time at U of O. It's really good food. I hope you can take my word on that, but it's just really, really good food. And again, University Housing does a really great job of establishing those communities. In my case, I was a U of O student. I came in, I didn't know anyone. I was the only person I was out of state myself. And so I didn't know anyone coming from my school. I didn't know anyone in the state of Oregon that I could call friend or family. But by the end of my first year living in the residence halls, I had this incredible community that I still keep in touch with today. But 3 guys that I lived with in the same hall became my roommates for the next 4 years. And then one, we've been living together for the past 7 years now, basically, for the past 7 years, basically. So again, really, really great communities that the U of O Housing does a really great job of establishing. So now onto the application. There are 3 ways you can apply to the U of O. The common application, which is going to be the most common way most students apply. The coalition application, maybe you've heard of that one, maybe you haven't. Essentially, the coalition is another version of the common app, just different company runs it. It looks a little bit different, but it's essentially the same thing. And then the Oregon application. The Oregon application is in-house. We designed it, we created it. We used to only offer the Oregon application, but obviously the Common App is a popular decision for students, and so we want to make it as convenient as possible. And so that's the end line for this. Whichever one is the most convenient for you is the best application for us to accept. Again, if that's the Common App, do the Common App. If that's going to be your best option, that's A-OK with us. And maybe it's the Coalition application. Same thing, that's going to be the best one for us too. Or maybe even the Oregon application. If that's the best one for you, that's the best one for us as well. So again, there's no preference, absolutely no preference. Choose whichever one is most convenient to you, and that's going to be the most convenient one to us as well. Our deadlines are November 1. That's our early action deadline. So it's early action, it's not early decision, so it's non-binding. If you're accepted or if you apply November 1, you hear back by December 15th. If you're accepted December 15th, you are not required to attend U of O. You have until May 1 to a school. You have until May 1, from December 15th all the way to May 1 to make a decision. Then January 15th is our regular deadline. That's the last day to apply to the U of O and still be considered for our scholarships. And then February 15th is our document deadline. So we don't require official transcripts to be sent at the moment that you apply to the U of O. We require the self-reported academic record. Some people call it a SAR, kind of a weird word, shortened. But the self-reported academic report, that is required. So if you haven't submitted that when you apply to the U of O on January 15th, you have a month to submit that. We are test optional, so you're no longer required to submit SAT or ACT scores. But if you do want to submit them, you have until February 15th to submit them. Well, you want to request them ahead of February 15th because we need to receive them by February 15th. It does take 3 to 5 weeks, I think, SAT and ACT report on their website how long it takes for them to submit their scores to us. So you want to make sure that you're submitting your test scores if you want to apply with your test scores in a timely fashion. In terms of financial aid, we offer over $245 million in financial aid, whether that's through our scholarships or through our federal funding for students that have qualified for FAFSA aid. Overall, the financial aid office does a really great job of helping out students as much as they can with some of the limited resources that we have. We do our best to offer as much resources in terms of scholarships and federal aid to students as we can. And this is my contact page. So we're wrapping up. We still have about kind of 20 minutes, a little less than that. So I definitely want to reserve the last handful of minutes for any questions that you have about the U of O, about the college application process, in general, any questions that you have. But this is my contact page. Again, I mentioned earlier, feel free to reach out in whatever method you prefer, whether that's phone number. My phone number is listed on there. It is a text compatible phone, so if texting is more convenient for you, feel free to text that number. Email is the traditional form of communication sometimes, and so maybe you want to keep it that way. Mike M, really simple, at uoregon.edu. Feel free to email me. And then again, if you want to be on top of some of our virtual events and just our different announcements that we'll send out throughout the fall and into the winter and even into the spring, admissions.uoregon.edu/request. And that's where you will go in and input your information for anything that you have, any information that you might want from the U of O. And so I will, and stop sharing. Hopefully y'all can hear me. I got some, hopefully y'all can still hear me. I got some weird notifications that my microphone changed. But any questions you have, please feel free to drop them into the Q&A little bubble down on the bottom for me to answer any questions that you might have. We still have about 15 minutes, it looks like. So again, any questions that you have.
Okay, I think seeing none, if you're okay, we might go ahead and wrap up. Just thanks everybody for joining us. This presentation will be online on the OACAC website within the next week. And again, we just encourage you to sign up for any additional sessions that you might be interested in. So special thanks to Mike and University of Oregon for presenting today. I appreciate it. Thank you all for coming.
Bye, everyone. Thank you all.